The album, we do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.
All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, what's good? 2023.
Yeah, that's what's going on, man. We want to welcome everybody for coming in. This is the premiere of Manversations. I know it's been a long, long time coming. We talked about it. I'm glad that you guys are here to witness it, the premiere launch. We appreciate everybody with this support that's been going on for the last, 6 months. So we're glad to bring you a wonderful platform. as we go on and on, you guys will see the show will get bigger and bigger. We have so much in store for you, so many celebrities that will be coming on. But we want to get the grassroots and the foundation of it to flow very frequently on the first stages. So we are here today. This is the intro to Manversations. We basically want to gear this show towards letting you know who we are and what this platform is about. So I have some wonderful, wonderful gentlemen that's on stage and on air with me today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with my right, which is y'all left, or y'all left my right, which is Major Gage. So Major Gage, go ahead and explain and introduce yourself to the people.
What's going on, y'all? I'm Major Gage from down here, Miami, from the bottom. I'm a rapper slash producer, former rapper slash producer, turned writer, activist, and so forth. And Ant came to me and talked to me about Manversations about a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
About that. And I thought about it for less than a second. I'm like, yeah, we got to do this because, we got to really stand up and be counted because we're some very strong Thorough brothers and we know how to act, so to speak. You know what I mean? People always come to us for advice. Seems like people always asking us what's next, what we need to do as men, whatever the case may be. And so we're like, okay, let's go ahead and put it together and put something out there where we can talk to people directly on a regular basis and tell people, so that's why we're here. We want to encourage progressive manhood with everything we have. And, we want to talk about the tenets of manhood, leadership, forthrightness, righteousness, just being stand-up men in the community and showing love, across the board to everyone. That's
what's up. You already know Major don't play that. If you follow Major, Major don't play that. So y'all don't come on here because this ain't it. This ain't the platform to play with. I got dope brothers that don't play. They don't play the radio. You know what I'm saying? So if you coming on here, make sure you come on here with common sense.
Please come correct.
Listen. This is the key thing in our community. We don't listen to understand. We listen to react. And when you do that, you become in an emotional state. And when you're in an emotional state, that emotions is going to take you to a level that is going to be very unproductive for you. Sometimes it could be detrimental and deadly in the same phase. So we want to train your mind, men and women that come on here, to understand, to listen, to understand and not listen to argue. All right. So next up is my brother Bobby Drake, the chef fu, kung fu, jiu-jitsu master.
Yeah.
Am I doing it right?
That's him.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
What is Nearly Foolish says, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. So, yeah.
And the firearms master too.
Oh yeah.
Tell him.
Who said that? Nah, pleasantries, everybody. It is your boy, the prestigious Bobby Drake, representing with all my heart and soul the 305 MIA, Miami, Florida, and the 242. Stand up to all my Bahamian folks out there. But no major credentials about me. Not a rapper. I play one on TV. But legitimately speaking, I'm just a piece of iron trying to help sharpen some other pieces of iron out here. I'm just one finger in the fist, and we're looking to make a huge, massive dent in the misconceptions and the improper presentations of manhood. We're here to try and set the track, get things in order in its proper perspective. It's been a lot of people out here in the last several years popping up on the internet, on YouTube, and all these different online spaces that have been referred to collectively as podcast niggas. I can assure you, 2023, we ain't a podcast niggas.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not the goal. We're not just a bunch of brothers, a bunch of Negroes who picked the microphones and cameras and decided to play video hosts. That's not what we're trying to do. We're legitimately looking to be of value, to provide service, to provide value to the people. And one of the reasons why I align myself with these group of brothers, my brother Anthony, my brother Mungai, is that for as long as I can remember, I've always tried to live by the principle of help, don't hurt. And if I can't help you, then I'm not gonna hurt you. I believe in trying to leave things better than the way I found them. If I come on the scene, however long I'm going to be there, my goal is to leave it better than when I arrived. And hopefully, when I'm gone, people will still question, "Oh, I miss that brother," or things were better when he was here, or I like how things were when he was there. Um, my brothers here, they have the same mentality, they have the same standpoint about that. And so I feel that we can get some really good things done and accomplished on this platform. Only time will tell. But for however long we're here, whether it's 1 month, whether it's a year, whether it's a couple decades, I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the journey. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what's up.
All right.
So we have some other brothers that unfortunately couldn't come in tonight. So many things going on. This is the first. This is the New Year's. So eventually, as time go on, you will see those brothers pop up in here. I know just in case anybody's wondering on the flyer versus who you see here. These are the core main individuals that you will see day in, day out every week. So we're going to bring some real good content to you guys. At the end of the day, our end goal is that we want to fix and repair what's broken. And what's broken is the connection between men and women. We've been doing a lot of finger pointing, men pointing at women, women pointing at men. And it has to be that median, that compromise territory where we can understand each other on an equivalent basis. And that will lead us to be in a productive and healthier relationship and interaction overall. So I do want to get into the question of the day.
Get it. Go.
All right.
Get it.
So the question of the day is we're going to give you a little preview of the photo. All right. And here's the photo. So this was brought up. I know Bobby Drake had brought this to my attention. I've seen it myself. And I was, I was like, yeah, this will be a dope segment to definitely comment on. It's a very important one as well. That's what we like to do, is to bring important dialogues that changes the perspective and also leads to healthy conversation and dialogue in the household. So in this picture, you see Tom Brady. He gets backlash for poolside pictures of him and his teenage son. Apparently, they have a picture where his teenage son sitting in his lap poolside and he's kissing on his son. This is his own child, biological. And people have a lot of backlash for Tom Brady, especially him being a man. So the question of the day is, what's the limit of affection a father should show and display with their child? And feel free to chime in. And if you guys do want to come on, we do have a link. And you could come on and voice your opinion as well. So fellas, anyone you guys could start with that. How do you guys feel about
it? It's a hard no for me, dog. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard no for me. And look, I put up a post the other day saying that manhood is not defined as the absence of emotion. So I don't want people coming over. What you said the other day that, yes, you're supposed to show emotion. Yeah, you know what I mean? But there's just certain things that just aren't appropriate. And when I look at those pictures, I'm all for the man loving his son, and so forth and so on. I'm all for that. But when I look at those pictures, I cringe, and I think that's why a lot of other people are giving this type of backlash, because they're just kind of cringeworthy. It reminds me of when Will Smith was kissing his son on the mouth, and, and the kid didn't like it. He was, it just gives me that type of vibe. It gives me a very uncomfortable vibe, not vibing it. I see I just feel very inappropriate when I see that, and that's not to be accusatory of Tom that he's doing anything funny style or anything like that. I just think that sometimes people And that's number one. Number two, everything is not for public consumption. So a lot of these celebrities get in hot water because they feel like they got to share every damn thing with everybody. Like that ain't everybody's business. If it is, how you doing, that's how y'all are affectionate in your family. That's really between you and your shorty. You know what I'm saying? But like everybody ain't got to see that, and create a media firestorm for what? I wasn't feeling it. It didn't strike me as alpha or cool, or it just was very uncomfortable. And like I say, everybody, we don't need to know all your business. People get online and overshare for just no damn reason, and I think that might have been one of those instances, like, we don't need to really see all that, Tom.
Bobby Drake, you have a flip side to that?
So, and I'm not one to necessarily do devil's advocate for the hell of it, but I actually am on the opposite side of the viewpoint with this. Now, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying that this should be done more often or saying that this should be the new template for fatherhood out there. But what I just find interesting is that it seems that so often there's all manner of handcuffs that are placed on fathers when it comes to operating in their space. Men as a whole, but also with fathers. There seems to be all sorts of unwritten codes of conduct on how fathers are supposed to love their children, whether it's the boys, the girls. A father can't do this, a father can't do that. And where women are concerned, or mothers are concerned, it seems as though there's no line in the sand that they can't cross. We've seen the past several years all kind of things. We remember the images of Jess Hilarious taking pictures with his son. We've had a number of instances over the years of celebrities and regular run-of-the-mill people alike taking pictures with their sons in some very inappropriate settings. Things that look very weird, things that almost look like they're reflecting intimate romantic relationship. And we've had a lot of conversations about the whole Jocasta Oedipus dynamic, or the whole concept of almost borderline intimate relationships with their sons and son husbands and what that does to men. And even then, there seems to be difficulty in calling some of these things out. It seems to be uncomfortable for some people. They don't know how to seemingly check mothers for doing things that, by any standard, should be considered inappropriate. But here we have Tom Brady, who's on vacation or wherever he is, he's down here in Florida, with his teenage son, who, by the way, I don't believe he's living under the same roof as anymore. There's issues with him and his wife Giselle currently going on to their separation. He's no longer able to see his children as often as he would like. He's here with his teenage son, and his son appears to be, having a moment with his dad. It's one still image. It's not like there's a whole photo shoot. We have no idea what happened before that picture was taken. We don't know what happened afterward. But in this moment, we just see his son sitting on his lap or sitting on his dad, and his father giving him a big old kiss on the back of his neck, on the back of his head. And we have people jumping in and chiming in saying that this is inappropriate. This is concerning. This isn't a good look, Tom. In other words, we are placing handcuffs and limitations on this man and how he is showing affection to his child. And I don't have any kids myself. None of the brothers on right now have kids. But I have heard some fathers and some mothers say that, they want their children to be children as long as possible. I've heard some say, when their son or daughter no longer wants to be kissed or whatever, or no big hugs when they get picked up from school. As long as the kids are still open and reflective to that, they're always going to encourage that. They're never going to be the ones to stop. They're going to let their children decide where the barrier is. If Tom has a teenage son who feels comfortable enough to be kissed by his dad, and maybe his son even did it, Dad, stop. Dad, chill. That could have taken place afterwards. As long as that's the case, I don't see any issue wrong with it. But I think the real issue is people who try to cast aspersions as though this is something that is dark or suspect. And I think part of the issue is that we're not used to seeing fathers in this loving capacity. Meanwhile, we'll have people showing support for dudes like Akon coming out and saying that his job isn't to be there for important events. That's the mother's job. His job is to basically be a bank account for the kids. Whatever the kids goes, he just pays up, and that's him being a loving father. And more people are supportive of that than they are of a man giving a big old kiss to his son in the back of his head. I think that some of that is ignorance, and it stems from us not really seeing men serving these roles.
Mm.
We're used to seeing fathers be disciplinarians, bringing out the belt, cussing and shouting, boy, get your ass in here and do X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. We don't really have that
Mm.
frame of reference of a man being less than this domineering, rigid disciplinarian figure, if he's even in the picture at all. So I think what Tom did, and Lord knows I'm no Tom Brady fan by a stretch. Anybody that knows me for 5 minutes, it's football talking. So I'm going to have some kind of Tom Brady slander quick to go. But personal
Yeah.
bias aside, keep it 100. I got to side with Tamara Brady on this and say, you know what? Kudos to you for being comfortable to be intimate with your son in this fashion. Kudos to your son for being cool with it. And although I also agree with Mungai, everything really ain't fit for the internet because there's a whole bunch of savage beasts out here. But at the same time, props to him for not feeling two ways about sharing a genuine family moment.
True. I would say I agree with that. And the reason why is there's so many things that people have to take in consideration. We just like to jump and attack what we see and not put context on it. Now, Mungai makes a great point about, every individual act has to be scrutinized for the individuality of that person or the subject matters in that element, right? In this element is Tom Brady. And I want people to understand the dynamics behind this. Remember what his wife said. Remember, he was beefing with his wife over his football career. I think Tom Brady's going into his, 24th season?
Yes, something like that.
Something
It
like that,
seemed
right?
like
23rd?
it seemed
24th.
like it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
So
well into the
that,
decade.
yeah, so you're talking about his son is in the teens. So he's been in the league way before his son was even born. And she had a gripe. She put it out in the media. See, a lot of times we get the slander, men get slander from their wives in the media. When you go out here and you're an alpha male, I use the term alpha male because people use it, high value, whatever you want to call it. But a high standard man always going to get flack from his wife because he's out there putting in the hours to make sure that there's a roof over over their head and food on their table. And when you do that, you have to sacrifice time. Time has to be sacrificed. Time with your children, time with your family. Those are the sacrificial parts of being a person that's in high demand, making high amount of money. Now you're getting attacked in the media by your wife. And then on top of that, she's threatening you with the divorce papers. And her number one thing is you're choosing football over your family. So now that Tom has some downtime, people don't understand that psychologically he could be playing on that. When you're in the limelight, he could sit back and think that the perception about me is I'm not a family man. I'm not somebody who loves my children. I'm all about football and F my family. And that's probably what was going through his mind when he posted the pictures of him and his son. He wanted to show people that he had the connection with his son and he loves his child. So the perception will sometimes make people go outside of a little bit of the norm. Like you say, Mungai, you was like, everything doesn't need to be phototaped or posted on social media. But maybe if you're attacked so much, sometimes people try to prove to the outside people that that's not what it is. Look, this is what it really is. And that could have a backfire effect on him, but he doesn't care because at the end of the day, he loves his son. This is his son. This isn't his stepson. This isn't an adopted child. This is his biological son. This is his flesh, his bone, his rib. This is part of him. This is his identity. And he's showing the world that, and the world has flack for him. But I just want to say in the context part of it, people don't understand that because you being attacked like that in public, sometimes it'll make you do things to show and prove the public elsewhere.
I hear you. I would like to just add one small point to that I kind of left out, and I guess this is the real kicker. What's got everybody like in a tizzy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big ass kid. If he was a little boy, I don't think nobody would care. You know what I'm saying? But when you got a big old kid like that, it's just something about it that just doesn't look right, doesn't sit right, doesn't feel right. He's an older child. If he was 4 or 5 years old, I don't think anybody has anything to say. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the part that really has people just kind of dumbfounded by that. And I know, and to speak to Bobby's point where, okay, some people want to take this to a dark place. I get it. I absolutely don't want to do that. But there have been cases with people where, like you mentioned, the Just Hilarious thing. I wouldn't say that, first of all, I wouldn't say that women haven't been checked on that, because Just Hilarious, they dragged her for a minute on that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and those pictures kind of put me in the same place that the Just Hilarious picture put me in. That's why it kind of bugs me or whatever. But I can see on this particular thing, I don't see where it's a right or a wrong. I can kind of understand either person's perspective on it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Correct. So I do want to say this before I read some of the comments, because some of our people have questions, right? So I do want to say this. We don't have any children.
True.
We don't see things that people with children actually see a little different, right?
True.
And I say that because I saw a video before this. I saw a video, and this man had to have been about 40. He had to have been about 40. And his son, one of his youngest son, was 17.
Yeah.
It's a 17-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
He's laying on the couch, right? His father's laying on the couch, sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
The 17-year-old son goes to his father and sleeps on his chest. The mother, I guess, took the picture and put it out there, and it went viral.
Uh-huh.
My thing is, sometimes children, no matter how old they get, they still want that companion and affection, and they look at fathers as heroes.
I get it.
So a love can never be in the range of ages when it's the child showing the affection of a son. So that's why I say, I get what you're saying with the age, but it's a little different when that son, like imagine you had a son, right? And he's 17, right? And he comes and he hugs up on you and your picture go viral. I'm gonna defend you. I'll be like, nah, that's that man's son. That man's son love him because Major got a mindset and understand that his father is a superb father, and he loves his father for doing things that other people don't have the opportunity for, or not learning things from a phenomenal father like he is.
No doubt. You see what I'm saying? No doubt. And let me just add into this too. As a society, unfortunately, we've seen so many situations where there is some dark energy between the parent and the child. We've seen it so much that we're hypersensitive to that. And like, if we didn't have all these creepy little pedophiles and shit running around and whatever the case may be, we wouldn't see it that way. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't feel a way. But since we know that these things are so prevalent, I mean, it's a real problem out here. You know, I think that might be why people had that type of reaction to it. They're very triggered. Some people may have experienced that type of thing in their own life with their own father or their own uncle. Let's keep it above. Most people that I know who've been sexually assaulted, raped, whatever the case may be, it was by somebody in their family. You understand what I'm saying? And somebody very close to them that you would never suspect that from. So again, in this particular instance, maybe this is a very good question of the day, because far too often, you know, we get there is such thing as right and wrong, right? But far too often we get in a space where it's an absolute thing where it has to be either right or wrong. I think this particular situation is more a matter of perspective, and I respect everybody's perspective, and I can see everybody's point. It's important to be able to also, because you might be in that situation next with someone that you're close to. And let's keep it a buck. You know, there are kids who don't like that. There are kids who don't like that. They I remember I used to date a girl back in the day. You used to talk about her creepy uncle that used to flirt with her and all her all the nieces. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people. So it's unfortunately there's energy out here from people that is very negative and very damaging, that we have to watch. And so we're hypersensitive to some of these things because of it. You know, and then on the other side is people who, you know, just may be a little more looking at it from a little more of a, I guess, pure-hearted perspective, you know, where it's absolutely nothing wrong with it. You know, I don't think anybody's right or wrong in this instance. And I don't think any less of Tom. You know, I don't think that anyone should, but I understand the reason for the backlash.
So the question by Dazzle Me, she raises a good question. Does context of paternal love matters?
Unfortunately, in this day and age.
So if that was his stepson, we have a right to be outraged, right?
Well, that's why everybody was outraged about the pictures Russell Wilson took with Sierra and her kid. I think he was like, he didn't have on, I don't know if he was totally naked or he didn't have on anything, and people were outraged because, okay, that's not his kid. I get that too. And even more so in that type of situation, because there's a whole other parent involved. You know what I mean? And like, I don't have any kids, but I can kind of speak to that because I used to live with a woman who had a child. You know what I mean? And you really have to. Future was not appreciative of what went down. And when you go ahead and you make that point, you know, the women are like, well, fuck Future, he ain't, you know, or F Future, let me try to keep it clean. F Future, he ain't ish, this, that, and the third. But I'm not talking about Future. I'm talking about his capacity as a father and how he felt when he saw that picture. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I absolutely get it. I've been that guy. You know what I'm saying? Not the father, but the other guy. And I had to be mindful of the things that I would do with this woman's son because I want to be disrespectful to the other guy. I think that in that capacity, we have to be very careful. We have to be mindful of what the other parent is feeling. We can't just disregard this child's father, if you like it or not. That's irresponsible. That's not how we move as kings.
Correct.
You know what I mean? That's how I see that. Go ahead.
I definitely in the process of writing this book, between experiences that I've had with biological fathers. And it's very important to establish a relationship with the biological father without the presence of the mother. As men, we should be able to sit down and talk and agree to what goes on in the household. How does the balance look on disciplinary actions or, you know, actions of comforting and emotional love? Like, how does that look for you without crossing your boundaries? You see what I'm saying? I think we need more interaction with men without the mothers, because mothers and children kind of operate the same. And why I say they kind of operate the same is they'll play both sides. They'll play with the baby daddy when they want to play with the child's father, and they'll play with their current boyfriend when they want to play with the current boyfriend. Children do the same thing. Children will play both sides. They'll run and tell their daddy one thing, and then they'll tell you another thing. So that way you guys are always at arm's length. It's always the men at arm's length with each other because due to either the mother or the children. And you have to nip that in the bud when you as a man go face to face with him and say, hey, let's reason like men. Let's keep the mother out of here. Let's talk like men and act like men and come to agreement and standards as men.
Real talk.
And I've done that, and I was very successful at doing that. And to the point where He actually was at the school one day filling out the emergency forms.
Yeah.
And he called me and he says, "Hey," he said, "Aunt, man, you mind if I put you down for my children's emergency contact?"
That's respect. That's
That's
respect.
big.
So, right
Big.
then and there, it's like, damn, bro, like, how does, a lot of people be like, damn, how men connect so good, like women are clown that. But when you look at it, it's a form of respect, right? Because it's like,
Absolutely.
damn, a man has children. And out of all the people in the world, because remember, those emergency contact forms only got like about 3 slots.
Right.
3 of your most important people.
Right.
So you're beating out aunties, uncles,
Yeah.
grandmas, grandpas, you see what I'm saying? To
That's
get on that
official.
slot. So I was shocked, and I was honored by it. You know what I'm saying? And I was
Yeah,
like,
you
yeah,
should be.
sure, anytime. And to go further with that, one day he wasn't able, because he was working, he wasn't able to take the children to school for father child breakfast.
Right.
So I end up going to the school and taking them for the father-child breakfast. We
Wow, that's
worked as a collective unit.
That's heavy. That's
People don't
rare.
understand. Yes, people don't understand that we're living in a society now where you have to go through blended families. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's going to go through it, but sometimes you might find a woman who has children. And it's not going to be a situation that's going to benefit you to be the a-hole in the situation or to
Right.
be the tough guy in the situation. You want that relationship to run as smooth as possible. And at the end goal, you have to put yourself to the side and make sure that you guys are in the benefits of the child. So the
Right.
child is successful. Because if the child doesn't succeed, you fail as parents. Whether you're a biological or co-parent, you still fail as a child.
Yeah.
I mean, you still fail as a parent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
People
people got to understand the importance of people rocking together. It's a village mentality. So you want the village to be strong enough so the children in the village are protected, cared for, and are able to produce a village after they leave your village and create and go on and build the generational mindset that creates a healthy and successful society.
Absolutely. Real talk.
But
Entirely.
that
100%.
definitely calls for a level of maturity, though, as well, with all parties involved. You have to be healthy and you have to be mature to do that because of the 3 people in the situation, the 2, the biological parents and the extra father or the extra mother, that's the situation. If there's any egos in the picture from anybody, if anybody's not handling business above board, if anyone's moving in a shady or funny style kind of way, you're not gonna be able to have that kind of relationship because there's always gonna be the thought that, well, this person doesn't mean good or something is missing somewhere in the picture. But if everybody is moving the way they're supposed to be moving, they've properly cut ties and made ties. Um, they're communicating effectively, and everyone can see that we're really just, working for the best interest of the child. We're all 3 in this situation together. Let's work this for the best of our ability. Then you can move like that. But
Mm-hmm.
too often, you have cases where there's some egos getting in the picture. Maybe there's some jealousy. Or this child, my child likes this new nigga more than he likes me, or he likes his father's new broad more than he likes me, or um, you know what? I'm going to use this child. I'm going to use this to try and do other things, or I'm going to try and maybe flirt with my child's mother, my child's father on the low. These small little petty things that go on that have nothing to do with moving the situation forward.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, major losses occur because now we can't have this sort of dynamic where we can all be there for each other. Where, dang, she's hemmed up, he's hemmed up. Let me put Ann on the line. Hey, Ann, can you step in for us? We really need you today. All right, no problem. I got you. I'll handle it.
And I think the problem is too, those those type of situations are way too prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
What Anthony's describing is the exception to the exception of the rule. 99.9% of the time, it's something totally different. It's in shambles. And what really probably makes that situation that unique, I don't know the other guy, but my guess, Ant, would be you, because you're a unique type of dude. You know what I'm saying? As the new guy who, okay, this is your house, this is your fortress. You know what I'm saying? Usually that guy, he's not as flexible. You know, he's very rigid. You know what I mean? And like you said, the flirting type of situation, or even the sexual type of situation, unfortunately, I will say, you know, a lot of women do still have ongoing situations with their baby daddy forever. You know what I'm saying? And that makes that very hard to do. You know, so shout out to you. I'm glad, you know, y'all both found a situation where that works. You're moving on it like civilized gods. That's great. You know what I'm saying? We need more of that, you know, and I guess that's why we're doing this show, because, you know, the behavior, you know, the behavioral compass of some of these other cats that's out here, they ain't approaching these situations in any manner close to that. I guess primarily in a manner that will be to the most benefit of the child. That's just not their approach. You know what I'm saying? They're very selfish. I, me. You know, that's my baby mama. That's my child. And they still looking at it like, hey, I'm that guy. I'm just over here doing me, but I'm really still that dude. You know what I'm saying? And that makes it very hard for the guy who's coming in righteously trying to do what you're doing. And apparently, you know, you've been able to have a degree of success with that. Maybe as we go along, whatever the case may be, cats can come in and talk to you. You can coach them on that, because I know a few cats that have, you know, similar, very similar situations, but the outcome is just a mess. You know, like every other week is something.
Trust me, I know, because I've been in relationships before that had that dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Where you couldn't talk to a person, and like Bobby said it, and you say it's a mature mindset that comes along with that. But the thing about it, why I want to write this book and why I want to introduce it, is because we have a problem as Black people that we complain about situations while being on the hamster wheel. We never get off the hamster wheel, examine the hamster wheel, and be like, this shit ain't for us. This shit ain't for me. Why am I going in circles? I ain't supposed to be going in circles. I've been walking about 3,000 miles and I'm in the same place. And when you get off and you examine it, you say, okay, I need to do something different. And that's what this is. It's a different approach to a situation that everybody deals with on the normal. And I take it a little bit further with that, because that situation also can help you in other situations.
True.
Everybody knows that Cafe Iguana was one of the most prolific and very fun and entertaining spots of South Florida.
Milestone. Met my fiance there. Yeah.
Yes, it's a very legendary place, right?
Yeah.
And I remember that I was walking around, and if you've been in Cafe Iguanas, it's been pretty packed in there some nights. Some nights it's wall to wall walking around. If you're walking around with a drink, you're spilling it on somebody. That's how packed it was. And I remember a guy, I'm walking around to go from one side of the dance floor to the other, and I'm walking around, going around the bar, and a guy steps on my shoe. So now I'm fresh dressed, dude steps on my shoe, and guess what I do?
What you do?
I turn to him and says, I'm sorry, my bad. Dude looked at me with a confused look like, what? He's like, no, man, I stepped on your shoe. No, we was laughing. And he was like, yo, follow me to the bar.
Yeah.
Went to the bar, conversed. He found out he did he did home improvement and stuff like that. So I took a number down to give connects. You know, a Black dude was giving connects. He does real good work. Showed me pictures and everything.
Number. Yes.
Well, shit, this was about 12, 13 years ago.
You're killing me, dog. You're killing me. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So this is a long time story, right? And and we was laughing and we were conversing at the bar. He bought me a drink and I bought him back a drink. And we end up being friends in there. Every time we see each other, we always shoot each other drinks. And I say that because the reason why I said that is because that situation could have went left, right? I could have said to him, fuck, nigga, you stepped on my shoe.
That's how it's supposed to go down. What you mean? Yeah. Pull the blickies out. Just bop, bop, bop.
Yes. So it would have been fighting in the club, outside the club, and one of us either would have went to jail and somebody would be calling their family to come bury them that following week, right? But you de-escalate the situation. I de-escalated by saying, I'm sorry, knowing I didn't do it. Threw him in a wrench, right? So I say that because sometimes you want to do things to diffuse things in a way where it doesn't come back and be a problem later. That's why I say the approach is to go to the man without the mediation or the connection with the woman, if you can, and just talk man to man, because you're diffusing a situation head on before it becomes a problem down the road. So it's just life lessons I just like to share with people, to just say, yeah, that's not the normal approach, but maybe sometimes you have to go beyond the normal to get the results that you want.
I would like to add this, just add this in. I respect what you're saying, and I get where you're coming from, but I also want to add in, you gotta be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? Because that same dude, you know what I'm saying, he might not have reacted like that. You understand what I'm saying? He may not have reacted like that. And whereas I agree with what you're saying, you know, as far as de-escalating situations, but sometimes you still got to let people know. You know, and because I've been in similar situations and I de-escalated the situation, but I still kind of let them know. You don't want people to think they can just run over you and bully you, you know, at the same time, you know. So my approach is slightly different. Sometimes, you know, you may want to be a little more, I don't want to say confrontational, but just a little more, like I said,
a little more firm.
A little more firm, exactly, because you know,
I know he
clearly knew what he did. Is my point, you know, and he was just gonna let it ride until you said something to him. And sometimes, like I know that happened to me before, and I just kind of looked at brother. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get all up in his face. Nigga, what was with his brother? What's going on, man? Oh, my bad. You know, and he still acknowledged it, and he still, oh, you know, brother, you know, I know, but I let him know. Bro, you moving funny. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that. You know, that would be the only thing that I add in. Just a little piece. You got to be careful with that type of approach, whereas people don't feel like you're a pushover. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I would like to add to that. But well done, brother. I'm glad nothing popped off. You know what I'm saying? Because you're here today with us, and it wasn't no pressure.
I've been in the verbal. I've been in the fist fights. Sometimes, especially in that realm of Cafe Iguanas, that was my honey hole. That was my spot. So I wasn't trying to do anything to get banned or kicked out of there, right? So you always look at the pro and the con of things, and when you do that, you tend to do things a little bit different. Like I say, I've been in conversations where I've checked dude, and sometimes it didn't always go as peachy and creamy like that. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Sometimes you just want to do something different and get a different result. And that's just what happened. Just that one time it happened, you know. But like I say, it's just notes thrown out there to let people know, you know, this could be an alternate thing that you can do to get the result that you want.
No doubt. I like it. Look, bruh, y'all, you know me. You know how I get when I get, you know, off of my little tangents, whatever the case may be. What I like about y'all brothers, man, you know, sometimes I'll at you on something, I'll at Bobby on something, and Felicia will be like, why you atting them? Why you bringing them in? Like I'm trying to jump her or something. You know what I'm saying? Like we're trying to gang up on
Shout
you.
out to Felicia.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Feet,
Fee.
man.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout
And
out
he's
to
dropping, she drops.
because
Capitan.
Feet.
What she doesn't understand is a lot of times I will at y'all or I'll bring y'all in because y'all are kind of, I'm hellfire and brimstone. I'm like this. I'm always, you know what I'm saying? Bobby Drake got the R&B smooth type of vibe going, and Mount got the, the political science thing going. And it's like, okay, maybe I'm being too rah. You know what I'm saying? I'm being too rah. Maybe I need to dial it back a little bit. So let me bring these brothers in. Or maybe I'm jumping out the window. Usually I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when you at us, we already know you in the right.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna at us for no foolishness. That's why I try to tell people, don't come on.
Yourself.
You can't come on this program with the bull crap because you have three brothers that have three different approach that will whoop you so bad that you think twice before doing something like this with somebody else.
Real talk.
So I already know if you adding us, we come, and most of the time when you add us, we don't really jump in. We just sit there and laugh and watch it because you pretty much handle yourself as it goes. So, and Bobby come in and
cool. But again,
Bobby come in and throw the whole,
Look, no matter where I go, no matter what time it is, I'm consistent. I always bring heaven in one hand and I bring hell in the other hand. And whether we go to heaven or we go to hell, that depends on what you want to do. I'm equally open for whatever it is. But no matter what, it's always going to be righteous. Because like I said, when I come through, it's to improve. If I got to dismantle some stuff, I'm going to dismantle it. But if I'm going to encourage, if I'm going to motivate, if I like what I'm seeing, I'm definitely going to talk that up as well too. But I respond to the environment. You toss me in it, I'm not going to be off my game.
Bobby comes in with the floetic paragraphs, right? And people love it because they'll read it and they'll be pissed off. He'll slam them down and then roll them up in some flour and then make them a good treat by the end of the day sentence, right? I be like, yo, this dude have a creative way of just, it's kind of like a backhanded complimentary post or paragraph.
Right.
And I'll just be laughing. But yeah, when they see us come on the page, they see us, they know better than to get down with us like that because you're not going to win. 9 times out of 10, we're coming with statistical and logical facts, and you're coming with emotions. And it's most emotions. And when they settle down and realize what we're explaining to them, that's when they be like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it now.
Because like
and that's the problem. Yes, and that's what.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying that's why we created this platform to get people to understand different perceptions and different realities that will work in your favor to make you look at things in a correct lens. Because a lot of times, a lot of the lenses that people are looking through are kind of out of focal.
Real talk.
So we just want to do that. Yeah.
You ain't told no lie yet. No, I was just saying, like you're saying, these people, a lot of people online, I've noticed, I would say most of the people that follow us, like you say, when we get on a post, it's real funny because we're not trying to shoot up nobody's house. We're just providing commentary. But man, people are scared to even at us. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want, because they know we're going to kind of force them to think most of these, they just want to hear themselves talk. They're not really trying to build or have any type of dialogue. And I think that's one of the things that sets what we're doing apart from what everyone else is. Like, we genuinely want to create a space where we can dialogue so that we can all help each other improve and grow. That's what it's about. That is if I sum it up in a sentence, that's the entirety of what this show is about. And we're doing it with sincerity. We're not doing it to be quote unquote popular. I made a post about these popular people the other day. They're so goddamn thirsty to be seen and be, the it chick or the it dude, oh, I got 5,000 followers, or I got 20,000 subscribers, this, that, and the third, but you ain't talking about shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just so many people out there like that. They're just trying to, sell tickets to some event, or they're trying to get somebody to buy their product, or whatever it is, and it's just no substance. You know what I'm saying? There's no there. There's no substance. Everything is just dry. And like this poet Cahiz used to say this in one of his poems. It just becomes dull and dry like radio music. That's how it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just no substance whatsoever, and that's what we have to change, because people are substantive. Whether they know it or not, people are inherently substantive. You know how I know people are inherently substantive? Because when people are going through depression and they're at their lowest moments, and they start really talking about how they feel instead of how this character that they've created feels, how this character that they've created moves, this person, their representative, how that entity feels and moves and interacts and so forth. When they're not that person and you just catch them in their moment, they're depressed and they're crying and they're, oh, you know, no one ever, you know, showed me love as a child. I never had a real relationship. I never had, and all this stuff starts coming out. Well, that's your substance, but you've been masking that under this avatar that you've become. You know what I mean? It's just so fake at the end of the day, you know. But people, I think, are inherently substantive, man. And you know, the more we can kind of get them to tap into that, and you know, to not be such slaves to, you know, the media, the multimedia, you know, between Facebook, Instagram, TV, radio, out there, they're just a composite of all of these bullshit hip hop song lyrics, and I separate bullshit hip hop from real hip hop. These bullshit hip hop song lyrics and these, you know, caricatures on these reality TV shows. That's what they actually are, even though that's not who they are. If that makes sense.
Yes, definitely.
You know,
I do want to read this comment by Elijah real quick. I think
go for it.
It goes back to what I was saying earlier about the Tom Brady incident. So in an interview after he retired, Tom said that he missed a lot of birthdays, holidays, school functions his kids were involved in, and I generally wasn't around during the season. I'm sure his wife and Tom have been fighting over his playing career. His unretirement is seen by some as choosing football over family. So I'm sure his kids may feel that way or heard someone saying something along those lines, which reverts back to what I was saying earlier about the perception of how that is. Another point that I want to make before we go on to this next topic.
Yes, sir.
A lot of the women were asking if the roles were reversed, if this was his wife, would that be the same would he get the same backfire that Tom got?
For a child that old, probably. It's the age, I think, at the end of the day. Not the affection. I think it's the age. You know, as your child becomes more of an adult, I think people expect you to treat them as more of an adult. And that, I think the cringe-worthy aspect of that is that it seems like he's treating him like a small child, and he's not. He's almost a man.
So you're saying that as a woman showing affection to her teenage child would get the backlash that Tom's getting? I normally see that, you know,
I've seen the opposite.
If it's the boy, yes. If it's the girl, probably not. And another thing too, you know, I've read the comments. You know, they had a problem with Tom sitting the kid in his lap like that because that's where his penis is. So this is, you know, some of the stuff that people are saying or whatever the case may be. And, you know, a man's penis getting erect, as opposed to, you know, I don't want to even talk about it, but that's where people were going with it. It just made it seem kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Not saying good or bad, right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's what people were saying.
I mean, it's the thing about it is, and this ties into some other issues that we've all individually and collectively have discussed on people's pages and posts and in our own conversations. This goes back to this socialized construct that exists and has existed for a long time, where women are always perpetually seen as victims and men are always perpetually seen as victimizers.
True.
Where women have this assumed presumption of innocence from jump,
True.
where it's always women are innocent until proven guilty, whereas men, we're always guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
And it's
True.
all kind of different. I mean, if you were to actually go ahead and crack the books open and look at all the countless different examples, your finger's going to be blistered and calloused for miles.
Real talk.
Yes.
But there are all kind of situations where you have women who are legitimately perpetrators. They're guilty of sin in some things, and just by virtue of being women, it's not taken seriously. It's overlooked. It's downplayed. It's dismissed. Whereas men, it can be something as flimsy as an unsubstantiated accusation, and even once it's proven to be false, that man will still spend the better years of his life trying to downplay that and try to overcome that. He just can't seem to shake loose of it.
Right.
And if you look, and again, the purpose of this isn't to try and create a schism or anything, but if you look at the numbers, not just the qualitative, because if you look at the overall numbers, usually when it comes to children outside of two-parent homes, women primarily have custody more than men do. So obviously, if you look at the quantitative numbers, it's going to show that. But if you look at the qualitative numbers, when you eliminate the numbers and just put everything on the same scale, women tend to be more guilty of abuse towards children than men are.
That's actually true.
So if you look at that,
Really true.
then the question becomes, well, then why is it that if we're going to look at a case of a man posted up with a child on the lap and a woman posted up with a child on the lap, our first instinct to say is that don't look right when we look at the man, but the woman, we just think nothing of it, or we just think, oh, how nurturing, how motherly of her.
Yeah. True enough.
And we got to get, we have to get beyond this. It's something that we have to break consciously, and it's not any of our faults, I don't think, because this idea was out long before any of us were even thought of, before our parents even knew each other. And unfortunately, I think this is going to exist long after we're dead and gone in the grave.
True.
But we have to at least get to the point where we at least have this little box checked next to us where we know, let me check and make sure that I'm not, falling into this trap again where I'm thinking that he's out of line and inappropriate just because he's a man.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So that's where I think a lot of the criticism for this came from, not in so much because Tom is this villain or whatever, but just because he happens to be a man. He has a penis. Well, women have vaginas. Penises get hard. Vaginas get wet. I mean, it's outside of how it happens, both genders have sexual reactions and responses.
Yes. Correct.
But the one that we can see overtly, the man is wrong by default. Meanwhile, she could be just in a puddle over there, and because we can't see a vision, that means that everything is safe.
Well,
no, we got to break it down.
Sorry. Yeah, Elijah just said that women are seen as natural nurturers, men aren't. I think that I think he hit it on the head. At the end of the day, and that's why I actually like to see the men, showing their affection to their sons or whatever. I like to see that type of thing. There's more than one way to do that. You know what I mean? But I at the end of the day, it's something that I welcome, and I think that we need to see more of.
Definitely.
You had another question you want to go into, Ant?
Yes. So definitely want to go into a segment that we have, and make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Make sure you're telling a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend who needs this friend.
Put it in the
comments. Break that like button on your screen. It should be a crack because you pressed the clicking it so hard. You ain't doing it right over.
All right. So we have. All right. So I just want to give you guys that's out there watching. We have several segments that we will be doing throughout the shows, and we will be adding other segments in and out. So the core segments are questions of the day, word on the street, crown check. Crown check is where we highlight a woman that's doing so superb work in our community, that's helping everybody in the community, especially our brothers. And we want to acknowledge that queen. when she is doing great work, because a lot of times we too much focus on the ratchet women and we don't highlight the women that's out here doing the greatness and the good work. I think we focus as a community, we gear more towards the negativity and versus the positivity. And when we do that, when positivity comes across, we're so irritated by positivity because we have programmed ourselves to adapt and be polarized and connected to negativity. So we definitely want to send acknowledgement to our queens out there. We have Dear Men, which you guys can go to Manversations2020 at Gmail, and you guys can send us email stating Dear Men, and we will address it on air and discuss it. And you can come on as well if you don't want to be anonymous. You know, you could come on air and address it with us as well. If you want to stay anonymous, just send a text. Send an email. We don't acknowledge who you are, who sent it. It's just anonymous. We have The Pushback, which is a segment kind of like if you got smoke, you got a problem, you got something on your chest.
You won't smoke.
The part of the segment. Yes, that's the part of the segment where you come up here and, you know, let us know how you feel. Don't be scared. I mean, at the end of the day, we love dialogue. Everybody has different perceptions. So you might come on here with a chip on your shoulder and you might leave with understanding. You know, we might hear your valid points and start to say, you know what, you have a valid point. Mm-hmm. So don't be scared to come up and tell us how you feel or anything back, because at the end of the day, it's just corrective and healthy dialogue. That's what we want. That's the point of this show. And the final one that we do is called Realignment. So realignment is basically what went wrong in the relationship and how to fix it. So you were aligned when you got together. Something happened where you disconnect, and now you want to know how to realign yourself back in the original form. So we have a realignment question, right?
Hey.
All right. So a man and a woman have a strong connection. They started talking for a while and hit it off extremely well. During the courting time, they hit it off very well. After a few months, they had sex and it was phenomenal. Soon down the line, she revealed to him that they were having sex too often. He replied, well, I'm attracted to you in all aspects, especially in a physical way. She replied, I've been by myself for a long time and I'm not physically motivated due to me being comfortable throughout the years I wasn't having sex. So by now, his sexual encounters with her have been declining. Now he doesn't even want to ask or engage in sexual acts with her. Not that he doesn't want to, but just out of respect for her wishes. She thinks he's being ridiculous and should be satisfied with sex once every 2 weeks, if that. Now she feels like he doesn't even hug her enough, compliment her enough, or compliment her like he used to, and not affectionate as he once was. How does this couple realign back to the original alignment that they once had?
First off, whoa, it's a lot to unpack there, right? First off,
and this is a general situation that a lot of men go through,
right?
Whether they're just starting off in a relationship or married. You have married men that go through this on a daily basis.
Heavy. So this is my take. You know what I mean? First off, these are things. What type of relationship are they in? Because you said that they had sex and it was amazing, but we don't know. Are they in a serious relationship? Are they just hooking up? Are they married? What? First, that's the first.
Well, give us your take in the difference of the. So we're here to dialogue. So give us your first run on the different phases, because you have 3 different phases, right?
Okay, I can say it's pretty much the same in all 3, but the level of attachment is not the same. So it can't be the same analysis because, okay, is this person going to be here? Do I have other breezies passing through? I don't care, that much. You know what I'm saying? But just overall, they need to have a really serious sit down. I'm writing a book on this right now. It's going to be called The Relationship Book of Questions. Nice. And it has to do, I told you about this, and we had a conversation. Yes, I told you about this. And it has to do with properly vetting someone and really, really getting into the nooks and crannies of who they are as a person before you get in a serious involvement with them. Because I see this. Listen, I know so many people. They're in a relationship with somebody. They meet somebody. They hang out one time. 2 weeks later, they're in a serious relationship. A month later, they get married. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sorry. From where I sit, you didn't do any proper vetting. You didn't get into who this person really is. You don't know them that well. These type of things I would ask way before I got into a relationship. So in a relationship, mommy, I like you. I'm feeling you. But talk to me because, I'm thinking about maybe, moving to the next step with you. In a relationship, how often do you feel that you should be intimate with someone? How often do you think it's too much? Do you think there's such a thing as too much intimacy? You know what I'm saying? You break that type of stuff down beforehand. But okay, the milk is already spilled. They need to have a serious sit down about expectations. Because if you do not understand expectations and the philosophy of expectations, you don't have a relationship. I'm telling you straight up what I know. You don't have a relationship. You have a situation where you're just kind of monitoring another person's reactions to what you do without having any concept of who they are or how they will receive those things.
You're really just hanging out is what you're doing.
Huh?
You're really just hanging out. I mean, if we can be honest,
and something in there that she said that I didn't like, he's being ridiculous. I tell my lady all the time, anything that you have an issue with, come to me. Talk to me. I don't give a damn what it is, how silly you might think it is in your head, how silly your friends might think it is, because if this person is really someone who you rock with in your heart of hearts, this is your baby, this is your everything, this is your world, right? What they say is going to be important, and you're going to trust them to not bitch and moan over petty things. You know what I'm saying? You're going to trust. So it's twofold. So yeah, you shouldn't be telling him that his sex drive is ridiculous. What do you sound like? You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's too much for you. Okay, sit down, have a conversation about why that is. I know women who were raped by their brothers. Okay? For a woman like that, yeah, that might be too much for her. You know what I'm saying? Sex might be a whole task for her because she hasn't had the proper counseling. She hasn't healed. You know what I'm saying? You got to take that into consideration. And he can't be like, oh, well, she's being ridiculous either, because he doesn't understand the full scope of what it is that she's saying, if that makes sense. So I think that they have to really sit down and have a conversation about expectations. Nobody's necessarily right or wrong. A certain amount of sex is required in most instances to keep things spicy and interesting. You know what I'm saying? But it also depends on what phase that they're at too. Because I mean, if you're really deep into this person, you're deeply into this person and you're feeling them, I would think that your body, I would think that will manifest itself in your body and how you give yourself to this person. And as women, I can only speak from my experience. Women who have been more into me have been more intimate with me and wanted to be more intimate with me. And I think that's a natural thing from both places. So, when he was saying that, I kind of understood where he was coming from. She doesn't seem like she's really in the same space, though, because she didn't make any mention of how much, she's particularly attracted to him physically or any other way. So there may be a situation here where one of the people is just not as into the other as they are. You know what I mean? That all has to be worked out. But expectations and understanding have to be front and center. They got to sit down, have a conversation, see where they want to go, because that's a deal breaker, clearly, for the guy, it sounds like, he's like, man, if this ain't, you know what I mean? He might be ready to clear it. But if she can give it some context and they can work through it, then maybe they can make something happen. Well, that's my hope. I love to see black love. Go ahead.
Is it a stretch to say that it's comparable to women wanting a time frame, pressuring a man to impregnate them, like creating a child? Like they'll put pressure, like, come on, we need to have sex to have a child because their biological clock is running. With a man might want to have sex because when he gets older, he might not function like that in the latter years. You feel me?
Could be. Yeah.
Could that be comparable?
Could be. I see where you're going with it. What you think, Bob?
I'm in alignment with the things you said. I also believe that part of the issues they're having comes from not being your true, authentic selves. So the first thing that happened, there was a bit of deception somewhat that took place in the beginning by not being authentic. And I don't believe it was necessarily intentional, but the issues started before they got to this point. It just wasn't expressed. The problem was they were at a certain level in the beginning. So when they were intimate, when they were having sex with each other, they were already performing at a certain level.
Right.
There's already a certain standard in place for frequency and probably the type and style where it was taking place and all the other good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
However, somewhere along the line, that dropped off.
Right.
And so him taking the initiative because it affected him, but it affected him in a way where he has something to point out. He's now bringing to her attention saying, hey, what's going on? We used to be having sex XYZ regularly, now only having it so often.
Right.
So if frequency of sex was an issue for her, that should have been something that she stated up front, where I'm not interested in having sex this much, I don't like it this much. She introduced him to a vibe that she was unable to or unwilling to maintain.
Correct.
And when he came here with receipts saying, ma'am, we were clapping cheeks an average of approximately 4 times a week on average for the past 8 months.
Right.
We've now dropped to approximately 2.3 times a week, and most of those I'm having to initiate. What's going on? What's up?
Yeah.
Now, and again, this isn't a tit for tat thing, but in most cases, if this was reversed, if they were at a higher level and sex dropped off because he was no longer feeling it, we know in most cases women are going to start to wonder: is he with somebody else, or is he cheating, or what's going on? Yes. Which isn't a reason, because we know, because again, there's been a vibe that's been introduced.
Right.
You're at a certain level. We haven't gotten better. We have now taken a nosedive.
Right.
There doesn't seem to be any reason for it. No, nobody fell sick. Nobody's working more hours at the job. Everything else appears to be equal except for this. What's going on?
Right. Real talk.
What I don't like now, where I will start assigning blame, because there is things that you can actually point to people at for being out of order on, is when he addressed the issue, she's now criticizing him, saying, well, she thinks he's out of order basically for wanting, something's wrong with you for wanting sex that much. You don't do that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
If this person who you are intimate with, and we're assuming that this is a monogamous relationship, they're looking to be the exclusive provider of intimacy and pleasure and sex for each other. If this person is placing this responsibility on you and you on them, they have every right to come to you with any comments, concerns, frustrations, aggravations, thumbs up, thumbs down regarding to that, because you're the go-to. If you cannot, if you are unwilling or unable to meet these demands, then they may not have justification to cheat on you, but they certainly have justification to leave you and see if they can find what they're looking for and what they need elsewhere. So some people don't need sex as much. Some people aren't really interested in sex like that. Some people's sex is very much something that they need frequently, and that's okay. What is not okay is to get with a person who has a specific need, and instead of saying, well, okay, let's work to see if we can fix this, or honey, I don't think I'm the person. I don't think it's going to work. You should see there's someone else that can fit that. Instead, belittle and attack that person for being open with you.
Mm.
And what's going to happen is if that's the way that their relationship is going, it doesn't matter if it's sex, although sex tends to be a very significant, a very deep thing. That's a very spiritual, emotional connection there.
Yeah.
When you attack someone who is being open and expressing themselves to you in that way, and you just shut them down or attack them like that, what's going to happen is that person is going to learn that I can't talk to you. So
Mm.
now your
Exactly.
overall intimacy, not just sex, but the mental intimacy, the emotional intimacy, that's going to
Mhm.
dry up too. So if you
Right.
got the
And
sex is
that's what he
crumbling,
said.
wait
That's
till
what
that
he
person
said.
starts talking.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
especially for men, because we typically hear women say a lot that men don't communicate, men aren't open, men don't emote. And then when he does it, you shut him down for that.
Mm.
I
Exactly.
have friends who've been married for various lengths of time,
Mm-hmm.
and I've heard some of them share stories about how they missed and did that with their husband one time or their long-term boyfriend one time, and that may have been years ago, but ever since they've been working trying to get back to where they were before because they never bounced back.
Right.
You
Mm.
don't attack a person who's being vulnerable with you in that space because when you attack that vulnerability, you are training them to keep that wall up with you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the
Agree
goal
with
should be trying to increase your intimacy where you're able to just freely express yourself and your needs and desires and work with this person, especially when you're married. If this is the person that you looking to do life with, y'all supposed to be having the
life.
best sex. Oh my God. Even if it's not every
Yeah.
single day, y'all supposed to be having the best sex because you'll be able to be free with your desires, your emotions. You don't have to worry
Mm.
about being judged by this person. They're going to go elsewhere and they're going to give it to you one time and that's never going to happen again. This is where it's supposed to be all out there.
All out. No
Mm.
This,
inhibitions.
this is what the game been waiting on.
Swinging from the
Exactly.
chandeliers. That's what it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
But it's
and
out here attacking and uppercutting people in the genitals, so to speak, emotionally.
right.
Oh no, that ain't gonna happen.
Real
And
Correct.
now
talk.
you're also opening the door for them to start seeking these outlets, other places as well, too. Not justifying it, but you're setting the stage for them. And
Right.
Correct.
God forbid they listen, they go ahead and decide to play the role. Yeah, they made the choice, but you didn't exactly make it difficult either.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have to
Real
be
talk.
mindful and think in the long run. Just because you don't like what he's saying, that's not a time to go ahead and attack and gun him down. That's time to communicate. Well, why do you like it this way? Or what can we do to get the middle? I want less, you want more. How can we get to the middle? Can we compromise? Or again, is this a perfectly good opportunity for us to go ahead and part ways? It was good this long. Let's leave on good terms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
So
Real talk.
this is this comment right here is very interesting. You guys have a take on this? She
Go
says,
for it.
my husband and I will celebrate our 10th anniversary on Thursday, and
I
he
love this
said that
word.
it's his
That's great.
responsibility to continue dating.
Hmm. I have
Salute
I
to
have
the
all the
husband.
love for that comment. I have all the love
Yeah,
for
for
that
sure.
comment. I have one thing that slightly bothers me,
Hmm.
that it's all he's saying it's all on him. I would say that it's your responsibility to continue dating each other and to continue to make it interesting with each other. I had a friend say to me the other day, it's so important to be on your the happy wife, happy life. That's what you got to remember. Blah blah blah.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
to me, that comment almost kind of sounds like that. I get where they're coming from, but the problem is we have so many men that are not experiencing happiness because they're doing just that. I
mm,
told her we're remixing that. We're gonna go with happy spouse, happy house. So listen, I totally, respect what sister's saying. I'm happy that they're celebrating 10 years, but I would say that she should say that to him as well. You know what I
mm,
mean? Say that back to him. Hey, and it's my responsibility to keep dating you as well. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been the problem, one of the major problems we have in dating and relationships now is that it's very one sided.
mm,
I mean, it's very everything, the happiness or the concept of where the happiness should go, who should experience the most happiness. It's kind of always the woman. And men, we want to feel it too. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's very important for the men to feel it too. And I hope they continue to just grow together and be great. That's a wonderful thing. 10 years is a big deal, especially in this environment. Shout out to you, sister. Dazzle me, please.
No small feat at all. So.
Yeah. Huh?
No, that's no small feat at all.
Thank you. She thanks y'all, and this is what she wrote.
You're right. She said, yeah. Keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Y'all do for each other. Absolutely. Keep that going.
Keep it going.
So I agree with both our responsibility. Correct.
The happy life, too.
The happy life, happy wife is definitely something that I believe is very detrimental to a lot of relationships.
Yes, it is.
Because we have a serious problem that I think a lot of people don't identify or even talk about. And most of why they don't talk about it is because it affects one gender more than another.
Yeah.
When we talk about mental health, I see a lot of women speaking highly and very adamant about mental health. But on the flip side of that, they don't take the mental health very serious when it comes to a man. And this is why men, overall, statistically, you can go to any government website and it will show you, statistically, men commit suicide 3 more times.
Correct.
Than anybody else.
Correct. Because they don't feel like they're listened to.
There's a silent cry that's not being heard from men.
Real talk.
Because we have too much pressure on our shoulders. And is there something real good that I would love a lot of people to watch? I'm a big fan of Deion Sanders. And Deion Sanders has a documentary out. And in this documentary, one of the football players was speaking out on his situation. And while he was speaking on his situation, it made me very sad. It made me to the point where I almost wanted to shed a tear for him, and he was shedding tears.
Yeah.
The amount of PTSD and mental trauma he was going through because he lost his female friend, his best friend. He's living in a war zone, and he's playing football in hopes of getting his family out the hood.
Right.
To me, that is the most common reason that a lot of these children enter sports, because it's the quickest and largest way to get enough money to get their family outside of the hood. Yeah. And the problem that a lot of men, especially Black men, go through is that you have the pressure, whether your father left or not, you have the pressure as the man in the house, and everything rides on your back.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have parents, men and women, that have not established a good life for themselves to make a better life for their children.
Right.
In return, they had whatever the situation was. They didn't complete what they needed to complete for their children. So now they're running their lives and banking on their children to create the lifestyle that they didn't create for themselves.
Yeah.
And by
Real
doing
talk.
that, you're putting pressure, added pressure, not only on the child because of you. Now the child has added pressure because he has his own dreams. But he has to put some of his dreams to the side to make sure that you're good and that is a situation that looms within our community that we don't address and we don't talk about.
Right.
And when men bottle it all up, we see the worst happen. We see the domestic suicide, meaning that he beats up his girl, kills his girl, and kills himself.
Yep.
You know, we see where he leaves his whole family and don't care about them, or he might off his own family if he don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's so many variations to it, and I think it's something that needs to be addressed. And like I said, if you haven't watched the documentary, it's on Amazon. It's produced by Amazon. It's Coach Prime, the documentary. It's a
I'm gonna check it out.
very powerful documentary. Um, and even with Coach Prime himself, had a lot of pressure on his back, and people sat back and they ridiculed him because he left. Coach Prime had to endure people breaking into his office and stealing his personal belongings after he won his first win.
Yeah.
Breaking into his son's vehicle and his vehicle, stealing items out of there. He had a contract with the JSU, with Jackson State University, that he gets a percentage of the sales from the seats. When they told him it was sold out, but then the ticket sales said only half the stadium was sold out.
Right.
Now who's stealing money out of the facility? Right? Who's stealing money from the faculty? Who's the mastermind behind that? And you're stealing money out of Coach Prime's pockets because he gets an incentive out of that. He took money out of his own pocket when he was only making what, 300,000 for 4 years, and still took money out to get the grass, to enhance the facilities, the equipment, and the locker rooms.
Yeah.
And when you watch the documentary, you'll see how dope those locker rooms look, and they're almost up to par with some of the big ones that Alabama Coach Saban has, or Coach, what's the name out there at Texas A&M that used to play for Florida State and used to coach at Florida State.
Yeah.
Their facilities, their $240 million facilities, and Coach Prime has at least took money out of his own pocket to make them comparable, or just almost as good as theirs, so they could compete on a fair level. These are the pressures that this black man has, and don't forget, he had to amputate some toes off during this process.
Yeah.
So he had medical issues that he had to attend to. And still in the process of that, he had to do and endure all of that. And then people are mad at him like he didn't do anything for the facility or for the university or for the state of Mississippi, especially with the water crisis.
Yeah.
And that type of pressure is so significant. And I'm just so glad that he's a man of God and he walks in that image, because without it, I think he would crumble by now. I think he would have fell under, but he understands purpose. And that's the thing about it. Once you understand purpose, nobody can destroy you, because you understand that you're a vessel going to a destination, and anything outside of that doesn't matter, because you have the intentions in alignment with the God and universe to get you to where you need to go to.
Real talk.
You realize it's bigger than you. And it's not just about you anymore. It's about so much more in front of you. But then you also realize that you have something tremendous. You have a huge wind in your back. And if it's propelling you in this direction, then that's all the confirmation that you need.
Real
and
talk.
typically those people, they don't need much else in the way of motivation, because they understand that this is the motivation. I understand that as long as I'm alive, as long as I'm healthy, as long as I have the ability to keep moving forward, then I know I've got what I need. So
Yeah.
Real talk. Hey, man,
Wow.
you hit it on the head. Go ahead. What was your next topic, Ant? I know you got a whole bunch of them over there.
Whole deck of cards.
No, I don't have. Like I said, this show was more about getting to know each other, getting for people to know who we are, what the platform stands for, and basically where we're going with this and the resources that's coming. Like I said, we have celebrities that will be lined up later on down the show. We're going to have great dialogue, great conversation. As you see tonight, we're having a great dialogue. And this is just a preview of what we definitely are about. And like I say, I see a guy named G Is that a guy or a girl? I don't know. Have some questionable comments. But like I say, we are towards the end of the show. If you feel like you want to come up here and dialogue with us, you can. I don't front or run from anybody that seems like they trolling or have some disagreements. If you feel like you're that person, then by all means, we can send you the link to join in on air. Um, you know, people have this thing where they don't create nothing. They don't create anything, but they'll cause havoc. You know, are you replying to understand, or are you replying to the ego side of it? And we don't have a problem with that. If that's what you feel and you feel strong about your views, dog, come up here. We have the segment pushback. You know what I'm saying? You have pushback on anything we say, you can come up here. This is not the program where we hide. We don't throw rocks and hide hands. We don't do that. We leave that up to other people to do. So anytime you want to jump in and want to get the link, you can join in. We don't have a problem with that. Like I said, we have some strong brothers up here. You know what I'm saying?
I think he was
So,
asking if we were switching from talking about mental health to Deion Sanders.
but that's what I'm saying. You're not. This is what I was talking about earlier. You're not paying attention to understand. There is nothing about switching from Deion. I'm showing you Deion going through mental issues, going through the mental pressure. So it aligns up. If you were understanding, if you were listening to understand, you would see the connection of the two. That's why I transitioned into Deion.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
You see what I'm saying?
The perfect
So,
sense.
It's all connected.
This is what I say. People only listen to react. They don't listen to understand. Because if you sit back and listen, you'll see the connection of the mental health. But maybe you don't like Deion. Maybe you hate Deion. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we have a segment called Pushback. So we feel free, and you can run and get your friends, your tribe. You can bring them all here. It don't matter to us. We're here for corrective and healthy dialogue. That's what we're here for. This is what the platform is designed for.
Right.
All that other stuff I see other platforms doing and entertaining silly stuff, like we don't look for followers. So the minute that we feel like you're trolling, I can block you, because that's not what is. We spend too much time. It's like the reparations thing, right? Everybody got this thing about what reparations is. If you feel like you know what reparations is, go out there and go fight the way you feel like to fight for reparations. But if somebody has their way of reparations, then let them go out there and fight on the level for the people that want them to fight for them. Why would you go up in their spaces to go try to combat with them to tell them what they fighting for is wrong? No. Go out there and be like, all right, cool. That's how you want. You want reparations over there for that? Fine. Do your reparations over there. We're going to stick to our guns on this. This is my tribe, and this is who we roll with, and this is the point where we're going at. This is the same thing over here. You got plenty of shows that y'all can run on and talk all the nonsense and can be combative with people. We don't do that here. We just stick to the script of positivity, healthy dialogue, and understand to correct the behavior and go in a direction that is positive, not only for everybody that's watching, but also for our community, because our community is hurting. Our community is hurting so bad to the point where we're losing resources. We're losing gentrification. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, do you know how many people that I've watched having to live inside of their car? Because we were already going from check to check. And this creates mental health. When we talk about mental health, this is things that create mental health. And like I tell people all every time, the number one creator of mental health for Black people is white supremacy, systematic racism. There will be no other greater cause of mental health than that. Because before inflation even hit, we were already check to check. We're at the minimal of all races when it comes to financial gathering and means. We're at the bottom of the total pole. So we can't survive on a level of inflation going up an extra $300 when we was already check to check. This is why people are living out the back of their car. This is mental health. And guess what? They have a young black child in the car, whether it's a young black girl or a young black man, a young black son. How you think they're going to grow up? And the mental capacity and state that they are in.
Right. Yeah.
So we just want everybody to understand that this platform from here on out is going to be one of the most popping platforms that you could get on, that you could talk about, that you could share with your friends, and be happy that this platform is being shared within your friendship circle or your family circle, because we're not coming to you and giving you BS. We're giving you the real. We're giving you the logical. We're giving you the facts. We're giving you the statistics. A lot of people they clown black men, but don't know in 2015, the CDC, which is a government facility, unfold that black men are the #1 men inside and outside the household out of all races of men. Yet, we look at the anomaly situations that your baby daddy might not be shit, never was shit, but you think that that is the norm statistically of black men, and it's not. This is the platform that will bring that type of heat, that will bring that type of statistical data to you. We deal with facts. We don't deal with feelings over here.
Real talk.
And I'll leave it up to you guys. I don't know what you guys want to freestyle and talk about. It's on you guys.
I would like to add to what you were saying.
Go ahead.
That whole Deion conversation. Yeah, we were talking about mental health. We transitioned into speaking on Deion because that has a lot to do with mental health. But to the brother who was saying that, when you start talking about mental health and the effect that it has on the community, you can tie it, never mind Deion, you can tie in any topic to that.
Correct.
Any type of trauma that we face as a community is going to affect our mental health. And you should know that. And it shouldn't be an issue that we transition, into talking about Deion. But okay, since we're talking about Deion, let me just speak on that, because so many people were banging on Deion, and I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, on some realness, the cat went in, he did everything he said he was going to do, and then some. Mm-hmm. He spent money out of his own pocket, as you pointed out. They stole from this man, and he still didn't put him out there. He just moved on. He moved on to a better opportunity. They were underpaying him to begin with. They should have made sure he was straight. You going to try to convince me they couldn't have gotten sponsors to get him the money he wanted? Seriously? You must not understand anything about business if you believe that. You know what I mean? On top of that, they're stealing from him. They took advantage of it. Yeah. Unfortunately, they did what a lot of black folks do when a well-to-do black person comes around and tries to help black folks, like Nipsey. All right, they do it. They do the same type of stuff. Okay, all of a sudden, here comes shitty cuz. You understand what I'm saying? And niggas allow this to happen, or niggas partake in it happening. I shouldn't say niggas, brothers and sisters, who are supposed to be protecting Deion. You know what I'm saying? Because you see what he's doing. You see what he's bringing. You're supposed to be protecting him at all costs, pulling all the strings that you can to get him to stay. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You should be making sure he's good. You understand what I'm saying? Because what he was doing was wonderful for the mental health of all those black children at that school. For the mental health of the people on the faculty, whatever the case may be. It was just, for me, and I didn't even go to that school. You know what I mean? Like, for the community, generally speaking, wow, this is a great look. Now you got Ed Reed basically following in his footsteps.
Yes.
But
Congrats to
you'll say
Ed.
that Deion, you know, like Tupac said once, I might not change the world, but I'll spark the brain that changes the world.
Exactly.
It's a ripple
Fire.
effect. This brother
Fire.
did a great thing. Why we can't just celebrate that and understand, okay, he moved on to a better opportunity doesn't mean that he still can't help out.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say, okay, you know, he maybe could have stayed a little longer. Okay, I can understand the criticism because his criticism going in was of some of the students, you know, that they weren't kind of taking a step back, you know, and coming to the black schools or whatever the case may be to build up the black schools. So some people feel like he didn't stay long enough to make that point. All right, you know, I can kind of understand that argument a little bit, but at the end of the day, he took a better job opportunity. You know what I
But
mean? When he wasn't being treated particularly well where he was.
yes. So here's the thing, right? So people have that argument, but in actuality, if I'm coming to you and I'm doing everything and everything is going and I'm using my resources, my celebrity friends to take care of situations that you as a university should take care of, I'm alleviating a lot of financial responsibility off your back through my resources and my friends.
Right.
And it's like people don't understand how impactful that is and how much that was needed. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you're not paying me well. And when I'm asking you to do extra stuff to get to this next level to compete with the PWI, you're not doing it. You're giving me pushback.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you start to wonder, and then people have to understand that these HBCUs aren't fully run by black people.
True.
There's one point where there was nothing but black educators at FAMU. We have so many FAMU alumni that go crazy over FAMU. You can't even say anything bad about FAMU. Yet they talk so much crap about Bethune. You know, we go into these tribal wars with each other, but yet FAMU has a lot of white teachers that get paid just as much or even more than the black teachers.
Yes, they sure
so
do.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, why are you talking about that? I mean, that's a whole show by itself. We won't talk about the way
we don't have time
to some of these HBCUs are run. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it boils down to, the way some of these HBCUs are run. And about, you know, how many times they've been under fire for misappropriation of funds and things of that nature. And they're not looking out in the best interests of the students a lot of the time. That's a whole other topic, but that is relevant. And that is, you know, I think at the end of the day, why Coach Prime ended up leaving. You know, they were supposed to look out for that brother and that he was good. And instead, they ended up doing some nigga shit.
Exactly.
That's the long and short of it.
And that's why I'm saying that people don't understand it's the spirit that lived way longer than anything else. Listen, Dr. King haven't been around for years.
Right.
Malcolm X haven't been around for years.
But their spirit is.
Their spirit, the energy, will forever live on. And when the day comes for Farrakhan to transition, his spirit
will live forever.
Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He died tragically. Yeah. And his spirit, people ain't even know who he was, but his spirit was so powerful you had to not know who he was. You feel me?
Real talk.
Your spirit, your energy will forever live on. And the day Deion transitioned, the day the higher spirit calls him to his next journey, his spirit and what he has done to this day will forever live on, especially in Jackson State area.
Right. And, you know, I noticed it's a certain type of Negro that has all this rah-rah for Deion. You know, for the most part, these guys who, you know, talking all this smack about Deion, they're not progressive. They're not talking about anything. They're not about anything. Like the brothers that I know that are about it, none of them have nothing but praise for Deion.
They haven't done anything.
You know what I'm saying? real talk. Like most of the cats, not to say that Deion is beyond criticism or that anyone is, but most of the brothers that I know who are banging on Deion, saying he's a coon and all this, whatever, they not about nothing. When you look at it, you can tell a lot by a person and the things they post online. I mean, you look at their page and they just post world star videos all the time. You know what I'm saying? It just celebrity nonsense with no context. Just okay, celebrity gossip and world star videos. And like this dude, all of a sudden, you want to be Mr. Keep Hope Alive, man. Sit your ass down. Nobody takes that guy seriously. You know what I'm talking about? Like real talk. Most of them, they just
no. The truth is, you have to earn the right to criticize the team. You just can't come up armchair quarterback and Monday morning back and then trying to call shots like you've been in the heat the whole time when every time it's going down, can't nobody find you in action.
Right. Right.
I strongly believe in the old proverb that says the person who says it can't be done needs to get out of the way of the person who's doing it.
There you go.
Say what you want. If you may have all the criticism about Deion over there at Jackson State, but when it comes down to it, what have you done that was on his level, or at least what have you attempted to do that was on his level? Where are your accomplishments?
Exactly. It's like when they,
we can see what Deion's accomplishment, we can see what his track record is, but where are yours?
Right. Exactly. Right. Like you said, that's like every time Tariq Nasheed does something, they criticize. Is this whole bunch of criticism, coming from here on with these people, these nobodies who've never done anything. You haven't done anything for Black society, but how do you criticize Hidden Colors? How is that even possible? You know what I mean? Like it's an amazing work of art, and they will criticize this man, and they criticize his museum, and it's like, dude, this man is out here. He's building the culture in real time, and you're criticizing him over
the funny thing is, though, they keep talking, but he keeps doing.
He keeps building. He keeps building.
So not only are you not producing yourselves, but you're not even at a level or at a point where your criticism is upsetting or throwing off what he's getting accomplished.
Right.
Yeah.
Despite all your yip yapping and jaw jacking and everything that you're saying, trying to get people to lose faith, to lose confidence in him, people still rock with him because they're seeing that he's still delivering. He's still making good on what he's saying he's going to do, which is the number one criteria for anybody in terms of integrity, doing what you say you're going to do. He's doing that. Mm-hmm. And you're not helping or hurting him one way. If anything, you're helping him. You're getting him promo out there. You're putting his name in people's ears who may never heard him before. So all you doing is just adding wood and logs onto his fire. You pouring gasoline and jet fuel on his forest fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Man.
You better off hating quiet.
Well,
I wish I had a museum with they're like, I want to. You don't know how to make it. I can make it.
Y'all don't understand the half of what we got coming for you guys in the future. We appreciate everybody riding with us tonight. I know it's been a good 2 hours. Y'all roll with us, and we could go on for on and on and on.
Yeah, we sure could. we got firepower over here.
Exactly. Yeah. So we wanted to let you guys know this was the intro, the premiere. We wanted you guys to know and understand what Manversations is about. So tell your friends, whoever you want to tell to come over, subscribe, like us on all social media platforms. You can look and read the playback, listen to the playback whenever you want. We do have the podcast coming too, so be on the lookout for that. Guy, you were supposed to come get these. You were supposed to come get these, man.
Oh, I'm gonna come get them. I'm gonna come get them tomorrow. I'm gonna come get them tomorrow.
So we got the Manversation mugs. They will be up on the site. So you guys can definitely get a Manversation mug. Y'all go out here and do these morning videos on social media. Might as well get a Manversation mug. Get one for your husband. Do some viral videos and put the Manversations in there so they understand how strong of a point that you're trying to make.
Shazam.
Represent.
I love y'all brothers, man. Deep down inside,
Love your
man, I got
life.
so much love and respect for y'all, and I'm so glad that we were able to get this platform up and running because it's much needed. Our women really need a change in our men, and our men need corrective leadership from guys that look like them. Representation matters. I've always said that.
Real
So
talk.
we are here. We're going to start the year off. We started the year off strong. We're going to finish it strong. And trust me, you're going to love this roller coaster going throughout the year of what we got coming on. So I
Yeah.
appreciate everybody. Any final words
Sure.
from you, Major or Bobby?
Well, listen, man, real talk. I just want to put it out there, man. Y'all check out the drip. 49ers in the building, baby. You see that game tonight?
I don't think we made the playoffs, man. We lost tonight. I don't think we made the playoffs. I don't think we made the playoffs. So
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for y'all, brother. But 49ers
yeah,
looking like they going to the Super Bowl to win, baby. We
I
getting
hope
it
so,
in.
because I can't stand Dallas. I
Oh
can't
man,
stand Dallas, y'all.
I can't
If
stand them
y'all lose to
cowgirls.
Dallas, if
Them
y'all lose to
cowgirls.
Dallas, listen. If y'all lose to Dallas, I need you to
Man,
bring that. I need you to bring that shirt to my house so I can burn it. Matter of fact, we'll virally burn it together because there's no way, no way
Nah,
y'all
I
just
think
supposed to
they.
lose.
stir up the bees now, son. Just
I think
rattling
they
the
going
hornets.
all the way. I'm a little worried
Yes.
about Philadelphia, but Dallas, I think we watched Dallas.
I think that would be a dope NFC final. Philadelphia with Hurts back and 49ers. I think that would be a real good
Insane.
matchup.
I don't even
Yes.
know who wins that game, but I know who I'm rooting for. We die hard out here, but
Yeah, I couldn't even tell
you
you
know,
who win that game. But I know it'll be a good one. I know it'll be a good one.
it's gonna be a good one. But shout out to all the fans out there, man. I know we got fans already, and this is our first show, and I know we're gonna have a lot more. And I love y'all, man. Real talk. Shout out to my brothers and Mal B Diddy. We
Yeah,
in the
definitely.
building, man. We heavy. We looking forward to really getting into some deep topics this year, and bringing people into the fold and just elevating as a community.
Definitely.
It's really all about elevating and growing. I know so many people that are good people and want to grow but just don't know how. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So people hit me up all the time asking me for book referrals, asking me for like who do I listen to, whatever. And I always tell them the people I listen to, so we'll get more into that too,
Yeah.
and just I'm looking forward to just building a family-like structure here and reaching out to everybody and just sharing and spreading the love, man.
Definitely. And Bobby Drake, man, go ahead and let him know what's good.
Nah, man, I feel the same way, and I'll take it a step further. I don't even think about the people who are rocking with us now and the ones who are going to come along later on as fans. It's family. This
Yeah.
is basically for me one big giant family meeting. We
Yeah.
coming
Yes.
together. We putting everything on the table. We're discussing the things that need to be addressed. We're putting what I believe is the appropriate spin or the spins on it because it's not just one perspective. As you see, there's a lot that the three of us and the rest of us agree on, but there's also things that we disagree on. But all of it is meant to take us to the next level. So we're going to put it all out there on the table. And of course, we welcome dialogue. We welcome people who have opposing views. We welcome people who have the same views. Ultimately, every single brick we get our hands on, we're trying to build something that's going to last. So
Right.
Definitely.
we're giving out marching orders. We're putting together things that we can use to take us into the future in a whole and a healthy and a functional way. I know personally, I know a number of different people who really came up big in a big way over 2022, and not just from an economical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. I got friends that I'm seeing who have made some really huge strides with their own personal demons, their own personal issues, overcoming certain limitations they thought they had, making big life changes, and they're pleased with the results, and I'm happy for it. And I think that we can definitely help to make more of those moments, more of those situations pop off this year. So 2023, um, we about to get in the agriculture business. We growing.
It
We're
is.
growing ourselves. We're growing people. We're growing our community. We're turning all these little seedlings that we got here into some strong, mighty oaks, some mighty redwoods. We got some pine trees coming through. We got some sycamore trees coming through. We about to go ahead and be responsible for so much growth and change. And personally, I'm here for it. I'm looking for the success stories. I'm looking forward to all the little random inbox messages. Thank you for saying this. You changed my life on this. You gave me something to think about. I'm looking forward to all the growth that we hear about, and even better, the growth that we see.
There it is.
I'm looking to see new perspectives in action. I'm looking to see a different paradigm shift going forward.
Right.
I know it's not going to be just us at work, but we're doing our part. There's a lot of work out here to be done, and we got the tools to put them to use. Let's get active.
So I appreciate you guys. Remember, like, follow, subscribe, all social media platforms, especially before you leave out of here. Hit the like button and the subscribe button that's on your page and profile. And that way you guys can always be updated to whatever videos we post in the future. All right. So appreciate y'all for coming through, and we are out of here.
On the album, we do things like songs that are little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.